Tonight's episode is brought to you by WWE 2K26 Burial Edition. Order now for your own golden shovel. Tonight on Ramblers Unleashed. Who does Baron want cursed next? What does Max have to say about Becky? All this and more next on Ramblers Unleashed.
Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
The wrestling podcast that sets all other podcasts apart. Covering news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, and more. Your favorite weekly episodic podcast, Ramblers Unleashed, starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome to Ramblers Unleashed, your weekly episodic podcast for news from the world of WWE, AEW, TNA, sometimes more. And if you're not tuned into this, you are cursed. Up first, let's introduce the man who is higher than a jet airliner and whose signature catchphrase is and always will be.
Oh, sorry, 420.
Let's give a round of applause to the Baron. And also, let's ask him to stay awake. How are you, Baron?
Oh, you know, I'm wide awake, man. It's 9:30. We had a little delay. I literally was cursed getting into the show tonight. I could not figure out what was going on my camera. All I know is I better not move around much tonight. One false knee to the table will turn the camera off.
I would just like to point out that they left the lazy asshole and the stoner to run the show. Technical difficulties are common when you leave it in that situation.
I'm surprised I could just figure out how to hit the fucking live button, Max.
You know what? I figure that's the easy part for you, though, because that's not what gave you trouble tonight. It was getting the camera to work and figuring out all the changed music. It helps if your TV's not muted, Sean. Then you can hear me talk.
So it's just not a me thing. Great.
Yeah, apparently, but we're going to chalk it all up to mistakes, and it's all good. We're going to move forward from there. All right, guys, up next, the other members of the Ramblers crew. For without you, we'd just be some idiots up here talking to each other on a video call. Give it up for yourselves over there in that little chat thingy.
Well, you know what we got to do next time Dizzy's on here? We got to make sure he has a damn clip of the applause
uploaded.
Yeah.
Because didn't he play it last week?
He did 2 or 3 times.
But he didn't leave it uploaded for us. We'll have to have words with him about that. Either that or he's going to have to label stuff better when he uploads it.
That might work too.
All right, guys, let's get right into this. Our lead story tonight is not going to be easy for me. I haven't liked everything this guy's done over the years, but he's been way more of an asset than a detriment to the world of pro wrestling. From the LWO to being the voice of AAA, he has done it all. This story comes to us from Ringside News. Konnan undergoes leg amputation amid ongoing health battle. Konnan is reportedly facing one of the toughest battles of his life. Multiple media outlets in Mexico are reporting that the 62-year-old veteran recently underwent surgery to amputate one of his legs due to severe medical complications. According to those reports, Konnan is currently hospitalized in San Diego, California, and is said to be in fragile condition. The situation first surfaced through Mexican wrestling sources who indicated that years of chronic health problems led doctors to make the difficult decision to remove a lower limb. The report was initially shared by the wrestling creator El Potro de Acero in El Ring and was later backed up by El Planchitas, a contributor to the Mexican sports outlet Record. As the story spread online, conflicting rumors about Konnan's condition began circulating. Several major Mexican news outlets, including Envias Noticias and El Heraldo de Mexico, later clarified that Konnan is alive but currently dealing with serious medical issues. Some reports have also suggested that doctors are closely monitoring his other leg due to the same underlying complications. The latest development comes after a long history of health struggles for the wrestling icon. Back in 2007, Konnan underwent a kidney transplant after suffering organ failure. In 2022, he revealed that he had been placed back on a transplant waiting list, noting that kidneys from living donors typically last around 12 to 15 years. His health scare in 2021 was also severe. After contracting COVID-19, Konnan was hospitalized with complications that affected his kidneys and led to heart failure. At the time, doctors reportedly warned that there was a 60% chance of total cardiac arrest. Even with those setbacks, Konnan remained one of the most influential figures in wrestling. He rose to prominence in Mexico as a major star for Lucha Libre AAA worldwide during the 1990s, and also made the first ever CMLL World Heavyweight Champion. American audiences also remember his run in WCW, where he joined the NWO Wolfpack and later led the Filthy Animals faction against stars like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. Outside the ring, Konnan has been widely credited with helping numerous Mexican wrestlers break into the United States wrestling scene. In recent years, he remained active behind the scenes with AAA in a creative role, although his involvement reportedly slowed down earlier this year as his health problems worsened. Right now, the wrestling world is waiting for more updates as Konnan continues fighting through another major health battle. Fans across the industry are sending their support and hoping for positive news about his condition. And we here at Ramblers are on that list of people sending well wishes. You hate to hear about this, especially when it involves someone that you've enjoyed watching over the years, someone that has brought joy or entertainment into your life. And I'm hoping for the best. It's unfortunate that he's already lost one leg. He might lose another. I'm hoping to get better soon, Konnan. Fight through this. You got this, Baron.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thoughts and sending positive vibes out there for him. Absolutely. It's you really hate seeing it to anybody, right? And it's really hard when you I should say have watched him for many years, because we've watched him for many years, right? So yeah, definitely sending a lot of positive vibes out that way.
Yeah. I would say that my actual introduction to Konnan was during the Monday Night Wars. I know, I want to say I read something earlier today that said he had worked with WWE before that, but during the Monday Night Wars was when the NWO got big, and that's when I really started seeing him at the time. And when he went down to TNA, was part of LAX for a little while. I've always been entertained when he's out there, especially when he interacts with Ray in some way.
Yeah, he was the comic kid is what they called him early days of WWE, but we're talking like 92, 93-ish. I don't remember him from that. I actually think my first introduction to him was, believe it or not, our favorite EC Dub. I think he had a very short stint there. I mean, I don't even know if he was there for a couple years. But yes, I remember him from ECW, and of course WCW was when we got the cool introduction from him.
Yeah, it was a short, intense period in 1995. He debuted in 95, immediately feuded with the Sandman, and was featured as a major star, including a notable 15-second victory at November to Remember 1995 before leaving for WCW in late 95. So it sounds like he left in like December.
Well, we watched and we reviewed that show he was on.
We did.
Yeah, we did. November to Remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny, I remember watching that back in the 90s. I don't know how. One of those tapes that I seen at the Blockbuster or whatever it was.
I'm surprised you remember us watching it for the review, considering what you've told us about what you had to go through to watch that and then come back and review it.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I'm starting to get my memory back the older I get, which is really weird.
It is weird because usually people lose their memory the older they get.
Yeah, I have the reverse effect. I remember that. Is that considered, some PTSWD wrestling, obviously?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, how about we move on to something a little happier?
Yes.
Danhausen made an interesting debut at the Elimination Chamber, and you can't help but be entertained by this guy. After his successful cursing of Dirty Dom, he posted on social media asking if anyone else needed cursed. People were lining up. Natty wants Maxine Dupree to be cursed. Becky wants Jessica Carr cursed. More on that later. Fans wanted Cody cursed. Others wanted Drew cursed. Jordan Grace asked Danhausen how he could curse her like he did. For those of you that didn't hear, Jordan Grace suffered an ankle injury in a match prior to SmackDown. And there were pictures that came out. She was backstage in a wheelchair with Chelsea Green standing next to her. She attributed that to Danhausen curse.
Just real quick on Jordan Grace. Is this like her second or third injury since being with WWE?
I think it might be her second. I think she had one down in NXT and now one up here.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. I know this for sure.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about the image was they compared it to when Zack Ryder was in a wheelchair with, was it Cena standing behind him? But they compared the image of Jordan and Chelsea to that picture. So he has threatened to curse the Sphere in Las Vegas if they don't put his face on it for WrestleMania housing. He has informed the WWE that he will curse them if they don't add him to the 2026 Hall of Fame and have Undertaker induct him. And tonight's Baron's Buzzkill is all about Danhausen. So far, one man has been on the receiving end of the positive side of the curse. Last week, Danhausen cursed Dom right before Dom was defending his title against Penta, and we know how that turned out. This week, he cursed the original Grande Americano before his match with Penta, and El Grande Numero Dos ended up in the match instead. Baron, why don't you tell the fans your thoughts on Penta being the recipient of the benefits of the curse? And you know what? Whatever else you want to talk about related to Danhausen, because I know you want to talk about this curse thing.
First and foremost, it doesn't get any better when Penta is getting the great receiving end of this, right? I mean, we love Penta here. This is a Penta crew, or I guess I'm talking about myself here. Yeah, I like it. I think it's gonna cater to a certain group of individuals, right? I think it's entertaining. I think it's funny for sure. I think he's a funny character. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, let's see him in the ring." We've seen him in the ring. It's nothing to go home about, right? We've seen him in, AEW, so on and so forth. But he brings that entertaining value to the show, and I appreciate it. So I can't kill the buzz on this one. I'm Team Danhausen over here. I'm very curious how it's going to pan out for him storyline wise, right? But I think it's great.
So one thing I do want to point out, for those of you that haven't heard, Monday night, he did come down to the ring and cut a promo. And in case you're wondering why you didn't see that, it's because the WWE had him do it during a commercial break. By the time they came back from the commercial, Danhausen was already back in the back so they could continue the show. I'm feeling a little ripped off by that, by the way, just so everybody knows. I think we should have had that on television. But I am enjoying the backstage antics. I'm looking forward to what comes next. And hopefully The Miz does not end up making it onto the curse list, because if you saw SmackDown, he wanted Miz to be his mentor, and Miz basically laughed at him, and he told him, "Don't get cursed." So
Miz is cursed for sure, as are we here at the Ramblers. We've been cursed for a very long time.
Yeah, very clearly. And listen,
no, it's great. I the diehard wrestling fans are not going to enjoy this, right? This caters to the casual wrestling fan that watches, right?
I'm going to be honest. I wasn't expecting Rowdy to be a Danhausen fan, especially after he expressed that he's not big on Joe Hendry. I figured, all right, Danhausen's also entertaining. He's not going to like him, just like he doesn't like Joe Hendry. And we talked about it the other night. He said the difference for him between the two is Joe Hendry tries to present himself as a serious wrestler while doing the entertaining stuff, whereas Danhausen makes it clear that he is there for the entertainment. You know, he does wrestle, but that's not his main thing. He doesn't try to make the wrestling his main thing. So he says he actually likes Danhausen.
No, that's a great point. I mean, it really is. I feel the same exact way. Dizzy is not a fan of Danhausen. I don't think Dizzy's a fan of any of the wrestlers.
I'm starting to think he's not. I mean, he goes and abandons us instead of doing the show with us every week. And
Dizzy, I forgot how to pull up how to start the show. I was off 1 week. You ran it. I came back and I was confused. I was lost. I mean, he's not alone in this. I talked about it on the show multiple times, right? And I think Rowdy definitely hit the nail here with his opinion. I think that's the same exact reason why I don't believe. I want to believe. I think his music's catchy. But we all know what Danhausen's there for, right? Cheap laugh, cheap pop. I think the crowd's kind of starting to get over compared to his debut, right? A little bit.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I pointed this out when we talked about this last week. They were booing because it wasn't who they wanted to come out of the box. But if you listen, every time Danhausen pops up on screen now, the crowd goes nuts. They are so happy.
Yeah. Definitely brings a little entertainment value to the show that's needed.
Yeah. Dizzy, we can't go back to the Attitude Era. I'm sorry, my brother. I'm sorry. And as far as your PC equipment being down, you're a professional. You should have had it set up already.
Yep, I agree.
All right, guys. Let's talk about the deal with Peacock. Now, my understanding is Saturday night's main event will remain on Peacock. However, NXT's Vengeance Day was the last NXT PLE to air as the deal expires in 3 days, March 15th. And I've got two stories on this that I want to talk about. The first one comes to us from Sports Illustrated. WWE NXT deal with Peacock set to expire. WWE struck gold with the creation of the WWE Network, a service that housed all of the content under WWE, such as pay-per-views, WCW footage, ECW footage, and much more. That service would eventually be folded into NBC Universal streaming service Peacock, which made us all sad because it only cost us what, Baron?
$420?
Close. I'll accept that as the answer. The deal between NBC Universal and WWE started in early 2021, shortly before that year's WrestleMania 37. This saw Peacock replace the WWE Network in the United States for several years before a new deal was struck between WWE and Netflix. WWE announced a deal with Netflix that saw the streaming service hold the rights to Monday Night Raw globally, while outside the U.S., the service would host SmackDown, NXT, documentaries, and PLEs. Another deal saw WWE remove the majority of its content from Peacock and move it over to the new ESPN streaming service. This left Peacock with only NXT premium live events and the Saturday night's main event shows. Mike Johnson of PW Insider reported that WWE NXT content is scheduled to leave Peacock in 3 days now, unless a new deal is reached between WWE and Peacock. The upcoming NXT Stand and Deliver, this says will be the final live show under the current deal. Everything else I've seen said Vengeance Day was. Besides a few titles such as the WWE Evil series, this would leave Saturday night's main event as the only live content from WWE on the service on Peacock. Johnson also confirms there isn't any word yet on where NXT live events and archive will land in the U.S. The relationship between WWE and ESPN isn't even a year old at this point. You know what? We're not going to read the rest of that. They're talking about problems, and this is the only time I've heard that there are legit problems. I mean, ESPN does make fun of the grading of the WWE and grades low on the PLEs, but I've heard that they're pretty happy overall with so I'm not going to read about problems there. We're going to move on to our next story, which is from Yahoo, and this tells us the answer to where Stand and Deliver is going to air. WWE NXT Stand and Deliver 2026 to air live on YouTube as Peacock deal is set to expire. All things must come to an end, and so has WWE and Peacock's deal to stream NXT PLEs on the streaming service following this past weekend's Vengeance Day. Almost immediately, speculation began regarding where the new home for NXT PLEs would be starting next month to Stand and Deliver, with Netflix and ESPN, WWE's other streaming partners, seen as the big favorites. For the moment, however, it appears WWE will be taking care of streaming for the PLE themselves. Taking to X on Wednesday afternoon, NXT executive Shawn Michaels revealed via an old photo of him trying to use a computer where fans would be able to watch Stand and Deliver. Guess I better figure out how to get onto YouTube because Stand and Deliver streams live across the globe on WWE's YouTube Saturday, April 4th at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Michaels tweeted. This will be the first time that WWE has ever aired an NXT or main roster PLE live on any of the promotion's YouTube channels, with NXT events previously airing on Peacock and WWE Network. The WWE-owned Lucha Libre AAA has aired its major events, including Worlds Collide and Triple Mania, on YouTube since WWE purchased the promotion last year. Michaels didn't elaborate whether Stand and Deliver airing on WWE's YouTube channels was a sign that NXT PLEs would be airing on the internet streaming platform going forward, or if it would serve as a home for the events until WWE secures a new deal for NXT elsewhere. Though both NXT and WWE's video library have moved on from Peacock, the relationship continues between both sides as the streaming service will continue to air Saturday night's main event specials going forward. So, first and foremost, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't find this out until Vengeance Day. I'm also disappointed that we looked it up last week and the calendar I had up said it was only a TNA event this month. I didn't even know about Vengeance Day until I walked out of my room and saw them watching Vengeance Day. They're like, why didn't you tell us there was a PLE tonight? But only finding out now that the deal with Peacock for the NXT PLEs is expiring, it begs the question, are we going to move them to ESPN just like the rest of the WWE PLEs? Are we going to move them to Netflix along with Raw and some of the other content? Or are we going to do like AAA and are we going to do NXT on YouTube? I'll be honest with you, that option's a little weird to me because I think NXT is big enough that it should be on a regular streaming service, but I don't really care at this point as long as it ends up somewhere where I can stream it. Baron?
Yeah, I agree with you on that point, right? I don't care where it ends up. We talk about these TV deals. I'm so fucking confused anymore. We were talking about it weekly to week, every single week. I don't know what's going on. Whatever app it's on, I guarantee I own it, so I'm not worried about it. But no, I think NXT, Stand and Deliver, that's coming April 4th, right? That's the date. That's in St. Louis. So my goal is to go.
It's also the first time that hasn't taken place on WrestleMania weekend, and it's also in a different city from WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, it's in St. Louis.
Yeah.
My goal is to go to that show. So wish me luck. Hopefully I find cheap tickets, but
Sean says he might drive over if you find cheap enough tickets.
Man, let's see what we're looking at on tickets here. I am curious now. Now you mentioned that. Let me look that up while you're chit-chatting here.
Yeah, you looked that up. I'm going to be honest. The deal with ESPN being that we are paying, well, I'm not, they are, and I get to enjoy it because I live here. But the deal with ESPN being that it costs $30 per month to watch ESPN, and you get all the ESPN content plus the some of the WWE content that's on there, like the Stephanie McMahon, not the What's Your Story, the other one. I know that's on there. I couldn't watch it on the app I had, but it would pop up and go, oh yeah, this is on here, but you're going to need to upgrade the app to watch this. There's a lot of content available. And plus you get the WWE PLEs. Now, if you add the NXT PLEs, that $30 might feel a little bit more worth it. On the flip side of that, I wouldn't mind them going over to NXT because that's where I watch Raw every week. And, I can watch that here. I can watch that at a site. I can watch that while I'm on the road with friends. I can watch in Netflix anywhere because I have it on my phone. So he's gonna buy tickets with your money, Baron.
I'll buy tickets with Baron's money. Huh.
You know his money is green.
The real green. Yeah, man. Go for it, dude. Drive down. Let's go. Let's do it. I mean, it's in a really weird venue here in St. Louis. So I know they're catering to the small venues now. So that's not, that concerns me with TV deals, right? Knowing where the venues are at. They're playing at the Factory. It's a very small venue. The seating's very odd. So it does not shock me that anything could happen with their deal.
Yeah. Where would you guys over there in our chat prefer it end up? You want it to go to ESPN? Do you want to go to Netflix? You okay with the YouTube thing? Or are you hoping that WWE and Peacock work something out so that they stay there? Let us know over there in the chat.
Yeah, let us know. But I mean, good Lord, can we just have it all on one app so we don't have to go back and forth? So annoying. Just give me everything on one single app.
I think what Baron just said is he thinks that we're going to get Raw on Netflix. We're going to have the PLEs on ESPN, Saturday Night's Main Event on Peacock, and the new streaming home of the NXT PLEs will be the Stars app. So
what's even more pathetic than that is me knowing I own all those apps.
The fact of the matter is, I think the one app that I really wanted to go to would have to be Disney Plus. That's the one app I would really love to see it end up on, because Disney Plus is probably the app I am on most throughout the course of a week. And if NXT PLEs ended up there, I mean, it's just one more thing I'm watching on my favorite app. And
that works.
For those of you that do not know, 2 days ago, Tuesday, Zootopia 2 has landed on Disney Plus. Tune in, check it out.
Cheap plug.
Hey, if CM Punk and Roman Reigns can give it a cheap plug on Raw, why can't I give it a cheap plug right here on our show?
You sure can.
So it's much cheaper coming from our show than it was at Raw, because you didn't have to pay hundreds of dollars to get tickets to our show.
Good point.
All right, guys. After months of teasing, WWE finally pulled the trigger on a Judgment Day split. Now, I'm not going to lie. WWE actually managed to surprise me with this when JD McDonough sided with Dominic Mysterio instead of Finn Balor. And if you weren't watching, Dom came out. He called Finn out. JD came out with Finn. They went back and forth, Dom and Finn. Finn said, I'm starting to think maybe your dad's right. Maybe you are just a prick. Dom shoved him. Finn went to attack back. JD got in between. And Finn ended up breaking away, getting attacked in on Dom. And then when he backed over to a corner, gave Liv a dirty look, and went to attack Dom again, JD laid him out. And then all four of them started to lay the boots to it. I did not see that coming. I figured when the split happened, Finn and JD would go one way, Dom and Liv would go another, and then Roxanne and Raquel were kind of wild cards to me. Do they stay with Finn and JD? Do they go with Dom and Liv? Especially because they're foreshadowing a fracture between Raquel and Liv. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but to see all four of them put the boots to Finn, I'm happy to report that WWE Creative actually shocked the shit out of me for the first time in a while. But I'm not the only one that has thoughts on what happened on Monday night. A former member has shared his thoughts on the split. This story comes from WrestleZone. Former Judgment Day member reacts to Finn Balor's beatdown on WWE Raw. The breakup between Finn Balor and the Judgment Day became one of the highlights on the March 9th, 2026 episode of WWE Raw. What's more interesting is the way one former member reacted to Balor's beatdown. during the show, the group, now made up of Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez, and I think Roxanne, because we don't have any official word on her being in or out. We're going to include her in that. Turned on Balor and attacked. Those four turned on Balor and attacked him. They kicked him out of the faction he had helped lead for years. The segment started when Mysterio came to the ring and started blaming Finn Balor for his Intercontinental title loss, as Balor refused to help him cheat during the match. Balor came to the ring with McDonough, admitted he played a part in Mysterio's loss, and even apologized. The Judgment Day star then explained that he wanted Mysterio to learn an important lesson and told him if he really wanted to become the greatest Mysterio of all time, he should fight his own battles sometimes instead of taking shortcuts. Then things got worse when Balor said that Dominic's father might have been right about him being a prick. This started a brawl between Mysterio and Balor, and the rest of Judgment Day members later joined in. Balor was left lying in the ring while the group stood over him. Soon after the segment got over, former Judgment Day member Damian Priest tweeted, "Sucks, doesn't it?" The comment was clearly a reminder of what happened between Priest and Balor. At SummerSlam 2024, Finn Balor betrayed Priest during his World Heavyweight Championship match with Gunther. The betrayal cost Priest the title and reshaped the Judgment Day lineup. After that, Balor and the group pushed Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley out of the faction. Interestingly, Priest himself initiated a similar betrayal. Back in June of 2022, he, along with Balor and Ripley, turned on the group's founder, Edge. Because of that history, Priest's reaction feels like a full circle moment for the Judgment Day. Now that Finn Balor has been kicked out, fans might soon see his Demon King persona. There's a few things to unpack here. I'm going to start with that last thing. The way WWE has used the Demon Finn Balor, I don't know that we're going to see that again any soon. I really do like the message from Priest saying "sucks, doesn't it?" And I am also interested. I'm interested in your thoughts on all of this, of course, Baron. But I'm really interested in your thoughts on JD McDonough siding with Dom instead of Finn. And one other thing I want your thoughts on. I shared a meme in the Discord chat yesterday, the day before, and it was basically talking about the betrayal. First, in 2022, they betrayed Edge. 2024, they betrayed Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. This year, they betrayed Finn Balor. So that's the other question I want to know. Who do you think gets betrayed in 2028?
Better not be Liv. That's all I fucking know. I mean, let's talk real here, right? Let's not worry about betray. Whatever happened, right? I am so confused what Balor does now. Finn, right?
Yeah.
Out of the Judgment Day, where are we pushing him? What are we doing now? One time he was a champion. I mean, it might have lasted 24 hours, but I don't know where he fits in or what direction he goes. And that's why I really hate seeing him actually lead Judgment Day. It still gives him a little bit of something, right?
Right.
I feel like this is almost a guarantee, like, cut, right? Am I wrong here?
I'm not saying guaranteed cut, but it does feel like that's a possibility in the near future.
Maybe not cut, but maybe contract ending, gone type situation. You know, I don't know what his contract situation is per se. I mean, we all kind of predicted him. Somebody was going to end up leaving Judgment Day, and I think we all knew Finn. Kept almost calling Baron Corbin. Finn Balor was going to get out of that. I just don't know what to do with him after the fact.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't see him leaving WWE anytime soon.
Okay. What's his contract looking like?
In early 2024, and this was confirmed in July of 2024, he signed a new 5-year extension.
Oh,
so
shit.
His contract is not expiring until April of 2029. So I don't think we're done seeing Finn Balor anytime soon. But feasibly, I suppose he could go over to SmackDown, start. Well, I mean, Damian Priest is now in a tag team with R-Truth. I'm not even going to go into that. You need to go back and watch the footage to believe it. Although I will say I'm not surprised considering how things went during R-Truth's time with the Judgment Day. Not saying as a member for a reason, because technically, even though he considered himself a member, Judgment Day did not. But considering his interactions with Damian Priest, I'm not overly surprised by how that went about, but go watch it. Trust me. So I suppose he could. I figured he could go feud there, but I just thought of something else that is a possibility. Aleister Black is still playing supernatural stuff, right? At least implying it as part of his gimmick. You've got Finn Balor, who one of the things he's best known for is the Demon King. I suppose you could have those two either work together or feud against each other for a little while, or maybe feud and then work together. I mean, that might give some more credibility to the Aleister Black character that I feel like he doesn't have right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
so, I mean,
not bad at all.
Yeah. These are options.
But it just feels weird without him being Judgment Day, right? I feel like that was his thing. I feel like JD is also going to be lost in the mix, right? Dom and Liv do their own thing. They've always been a separate entity, like separate group from Judgment Day, even though they come back together. I really thought the best story could have been with Liv and Raquel, and that's what disbanded the Judgment Day, right?
Yeah.
We split off a little bit. Finn goes a safer route. I don't know. It just feels weird. I just don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Apparently. But we knew it was going to happen, right?
We've been seeing this. Like I said, they finally pulled the trigger on something that they have teased for months.
Right. Yeah.
I was not surprised that something happened. I was surprised that JD McDonough sided with Dominic and the girls. That surprised me because I listen. Finn brought him in to begin with. JD McDonough joined NXT UK because of Finn Balor, then became part of NXT because of Finn Balor, and then his debut on Raw was with the Judgment Day. He came out as a surprise attack on whoever Judgment Day was facing against. So basically his entire career in WWE is thanks to Finn Balor. And they've made this clear multiple times during his time in WWE and NXT. And to have him go out there and maybe it should have been obvious. I mean, because of how much they pushed the fact that he owes his WWE time to Finn Balor, maybe it should have been obvious that he's going to turn on him, come out of his shadow, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I think once the feud with Dom is done, there may be a feud with JD. Maybe, but then I think at draft time, we're going to see Finn go to SmackDown so that we can get a new direction for him. So, all right, guys, let's move on to From the Desk of Max Magius. Now, I've talked before how I love a well-told story, and the best stories are told with no need for commentary to help with the story. For example, Brett versus Owen, brother versus brother, WrestleMania 10. You watch that match without commentary, and I guarantee you will keep up with the story without needing the commentary team to tell you what the story is. And that's my favorite kind of match. I don't need commentary. I want a story that I can follow without needing commentary, and commentary should be, an enhancement to my ability to follow the story. To have a good story, you need good characters. Brett versus Owen, you had two brothers, like real life brothers, but character brothers as well. One felt like he was in his brother's shadow, but felt like he was better. And the other one thought he was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. One of them was right. The other one was not. And that will always be Owen. Owen was right. Right now, one of the best characters in the business is Becky Lynch. Becky is playing this very well, from mentioning lawyers to having breakdowns, to making demands of peers via social media, to getting a petition signed to have Jessica Carr suspended. She's playing this current incarnation very well. She has taken it a step further with Jessica Carr now that Danhausen has arrived. Twitter user @WritingCat tweeted, "I think I know who Danhausen should curse next," and posted a picture of Becky. Danhausen replied asking, "Becky Lynch, is this you?" Becky replied, "No, that's Jessica Carr cosplaying as me. Curse her." Danhausen replied, and if you're an Office fan, you're going to get this joke. Danhausen replied, "Identity theft is a crime, Hausen. You got it." And Jessica Carr decided to get in after that. "Hello, Mr. Very Nice, Very Evil. Trust me when I say, in no way would I want to impersonate someone with the level of delusion this woman has. Don't fall into her traps. Very tricky, very delusional." Then there was her promo with AJ Lee before the chamber match. She played losing it over AJ Lee so well. I believed she was melting down. Becky is one of the best when it comes to character work, and I can't wait to see where all of this goes in the near future. Baron?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, we've talked about Becky how many times on the show?
A lot.
Many.
I feel like we talk about her near constantly.
She's putting out some of the best. Oh, I mean, by far the best work she's ever done, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love her, the shit she does on social media, everything. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, prior to her, I would have said that the one doing it best between social media and in the ring and on the mic was MJF. And I'm still not taking away from that. But Becky Lynch has really stepped it up with this incarnation. I just cannot get over it. I look forward to hearing the man has come round every week when I sit down to watch Raw.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So, all right, guys. Up next, we're going to go south of the border for our next story. This story comes to us from Fightful. And unfortunately, my laptop decided it didn't want to cooperate with Fightful tonight for whatever reason. This is new. This has never happened to me before. But, and now the phone decided it doesn't want to work with me. So, here we go. Nino Hamburguesa released from WWE AAA following incident with a fan at an independent show. Before I read this story, let me be clear about something. If you have a contract with a major company like WWE, whether it be in their AAA, their NXT, or whatever, or you have a major contract with AEW, or you have a major contract with TNA, NJPW, any of these companies that are nationally known like this, and they let you go work elsewhere, make sure you do the company proud. Don't be this guy. Okay? If you are a pro wrestler or you want to get into the business, first off, if you want to get into the business, down there in the description, buy that book. I guarantee you it is worth your time. But if you're going to get into this business and you ever sign with a big company, don't do this. Nino Hamburguesa is no longer with WWE AAA. It was first reported by Bodyslam.net that Nino Hamburguesa has been let go from his WWE AAA contract following an incident with a fan at an independent show. In the video footage, Hamburguesa was on the outside of the ring, and a wrestler kicked him towards the fans. Hamburguesa fell into their laps, and while sitting on them, he delivered multiple elbows to the face of one of the fans. Bodyslam reports that Hamburguesa was informed of his release via a Zoom call, which is apparently also how they're telling people they're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So if you get a Zoom call from the WWE, you don't really know what it's for just yet. Neither WWE nor AAA has publicly addressed the situation. The report was corroborated by Lucha Blog on X, who wrote, "I can confirm Bodyslam.net's report that AAA fired Nino Hamburguesa. A video of him elbowing a front row fan at a Tuesday show in Pachuca's Arena Afición was all over the place in the days after. Other AAA wrestlers were told he was gone on Friday." The 30-year-old Nino Hamburguesa had been working with AAA since 2012. WWE acquired the company in 2025. Now listen, He got kicked and he landed on a fin. This happens. It's just let it go. Enjoy the show. Where he went wrong was when he started elbowing the fan. Your problem is with your opponent, not with the fan. The fan got landed on. They're probably understandably upset. You do not elbow the fan. You do not elbow your bread and butter, the people paying for the ticket to be there. So, that being said, do not be this guy. Goodbye. Good luck in your future endeavors, Nino. And thanks for all the fish, Baron.
That's all I got right there. You see that? That's all I got for that one.
All right. Well, then, let's move on to some AEW news then. How about that? Now, Baron, I know how you feel about AEW news, but I do my best to try to find stories about one certain guy because I know you like him. Even though
Danhausen moved over to WWE.
No. The other one you like in AEW. From Fightful, MJF says people will jump to the other place to get booked the same and or worse. I'm not going to settle for less compensation so that I get to have a WrestleMania moment. MJF speaks candidly. Going into his AEW World Championship defense at AEW's Revolution pay-per-view, MJF is making the media rounds, and one of his chats was with Denise Salcedo. During the chat, MJF was asked about the importance of AEW properly compensating talent, and he went on to state that he would not take less money to have a WrestleMania moment. We're the best wrestler, and that's just a fact. Me, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page, Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega, Brody King, Bandito. I'll just say it. After I had to wrestle him last week, fucking Kevin Knight, Speedball Mike Bailey's really got something. Kyle Fletcher, Kazuchika Okada, Konsuke Takashita, John Moxley. I can go on until I literally am out of oxygen. This is where the best wrestle. We're real premier athletes. We're not models. We're not ex-football players or whatever. This is what we've wanted to do from the jump. Everyone whose name just came out of my mouth, the only thing they've ever wanted to be in their life is a professional wrestler, and we have honed our craft to the best of our absolute abilities, which has made us so incredible, which is precisely why we are getting compensated the way we should be compensated. God bless people that do it. People will jump to other places to get booked the same and or worse to be compensated for less. Why? I don't know. If the answer is legacy, you know what I want my legacy to be? I want my legacy to be that my children are going to be able to afford to go to any school they want. They're going to be able to afford to go to any restaurant they want. They're going to be able to go on vacations. They're going to be able to wear the nicest clothes. And that's happening because I get compensated for what my talent is worth. I'm going to add one in there. They're going to be able to afford tickets to a WWE live event. I'm not going to settle for less compensation so I get to have a WrestleMania moment. That doesn't make sense to me. My legacy is my family. My legacy is my wife. My legacy is my children, my grandchildren, etc. MJF is defending the AEW World title against Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match. If Page loses, he can never challenge for the belt again. Now, I'm on the fence here.
Wait, did you say his children?
He said his children, his legacy is his children.
I did not know he had kids. I did not know that at all. I just looked it up, and he does.
I didn't know that either.
With Alicia. Wait, he's married to Alicia, and they have a son named Hook?
They have a what? Did you say they have a son named Hook?
Yes, so I don't know if I typed in Google, does MJF have children? And the first thing that popped up, yes, MJF has children. He is married to Alicia. We all know that. And they have a son named Hook. What?
Okay. Real quick. I believe Hook is actually Taz's kid.
I know. That's why I'm dumbfounded.
When I Googled MJF's kids, I got a result that says he does not have any children of his own.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We're doing share screen. Okay. I am not that stoned, folks.
I'm not doubting you. I believe.
No, I know. But I want to show you guys this. Okay. Because
welcome to the chat, Barhausen.
Because it is bizarre. What does that say, folks?
Yes, MJF has children. And they have a son named Hook. So I do want to point one thing out about the results I got. In 2020, there was a meet and greet, and MJF famously flipped off a 7-year-old fan at a Chicago event, later saying, "Fuck them kids." Listen, the reason I'm on the fence about this is because I agree with some of what he said. You know, you don't want to take a pay cut to do what you're doing. Like right now, he's performing at the top of his game in AEW. He's got the title. He's getting compensated very well. I get not wanting to take a pay cut, but on the other hand, performing at your WrestleMania, giving yourself a WrestleMania moment is one of the greatest things. What I've been told, I've never had a WrestleMania moment. I've never even been to a WrestleMania live because I don't make MJF money to be able to, or green shirt guy money to be able to go to a WWE WrestleMania. You know what I mean? But, and my other issue with what he said is that this is where the best wrestlers are. You have some great wrestlers. There are some very talented people on that roster. Some of them, Britt Baker, are benched for no reason. And you cannot convince me that there is a legit reason to bench her. It's the cocaine or nothing at this point. But they're not being utilized properly. Why do you think they've downgraded the size of venues that they're going to? I know the people in my life have recently gone to AEW shows and enjoyed their time. And yes, I know, Barhausen, you were at WrestleMania 40. I'm jealous. I couldn't afford to go. But this is why I'm on the fence, though, because you're at the top of your game. You have a title, but Tony Khan doesn't utilize his people the way he should. He doesn't do stories. He does matches, he says. But I'm not entertained like I should be when I watch you guys. You guys put on a hell of a match, but I don't have that story there. I do like MJF. I just don't necessarily agree with everything he said here, Baron.
Yes and no, right? He knows where he is. I think it's also ego, right? I think MJF is great. He's my favorite in AEW. He's one of the best on the mic. I mean, like, he's great. There's nothing I can really say negative to him. But I feel like there's also a little bit of ego. He wants to be the number one guy, right?
Right.
Do you think if he made that transition over to WWE, he would be that number one guy?
Depends on where he goes.
No, I don't think whatever show you want him to go to. I don't think
No. Let me explain. I think if he goes to Raw, no, I don't see him being the number one guy on Raw. But if he were to end up on SmackDown and Cody was the champ, I could see the two of them feuding and MJF becoming the number one guy. And why do I see that? I see that because Cody is such a fan of MJF. I feel Cody would go to the back and say, this guy deserves this. That's the only reason I see that happening on SmackDown. I don't see it happening on Raw. I don't see anybody on Raw going to bat for him like Cody would. Yeah.
I also think he surrounds himself with people that are better wrestlers than mic workers, right? I don't think there's anybody else on that roster that could even come close to him on the mic. And that's not saying they're bad, but like they're not good either, right? Like I'm not getting any type of I love Kenny Omega. I don't think he's great on the mic.
He's so
he's okay. Nothing fantastic. He's a phenomenal wrestler. But that's what it is. There's phenomenal wrestlers. Right? And you go to WWE, it becomes okay wrestlers and more mic work, right? We're on big network. I I think it's a little bit of an ego thing from him. I think he's phenomenal. Um,
Yeah, Barhausen made a really good point.
yeah, I mean, I made the comments, I think, in our chat the other day, right? It shouldn't be 100% should not be, but we talk about this all the time on our show, ticket prices, right?
Yeah.
We talk about it all the fucking time to a point where it's bad. But if you ever go to look at a WWE show or been to one, it's always sold out, packed, right?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling to me. But yeah, just real quick back to MJF. I think I don't agree with him. I think there's no other place any other wrestler that has ever wrestled would want to be than WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. I think a WrestleMania moment is one of the biggest things you can do in your life.
I don't think there's, if you've ever been to one, you know how it feels. I went WrestleMania 17, Houston, Texas. Rock, Stone Cold. I was much younger, didn't realize how big of an ordeal it was until after the fact, right? I would love to see MJF on WWE. I think he would be great. I think he would also kind of get lost in the shuffle a little bit, but so I understand why he picked AEW.
That's accurate. That's very accurate. Front row WWE is unaffordable. So again, I'm going to say what I said last week. Green shirt guy, please reach out to us. We'd like to interview you and find out how in the hell you afford all these WWE live event front row. And I want to touch on something else that Barhausen said over here. And you touched on it already. The tribalism is a real thing and it shouldn't be. And long-term listeners that have been paying attention to what I've been saying, I will criticize the work Tony Khan has done, but I'm not, and I've made this clear multiple times. I fully support those workers. I fully support that they are going out there, busting their asses, doing the best with what they have to work with. But my criticism is for Tony Khan and how he's running the company. I'm not out here going AEW is the worst thing on the planet. I'm out here saying AEW is being run very badly. There's a difference. I am not like these AEW stans. I'm not like these WWE loyalists. I'm not out here only acknowledging WWE. That's why I try to keep an AEW story in the lineup when I can. And I try to make it about MJF because for me, he is one of the best things AEW has going. And I agree 100% with what my future assistant booker just said over in the chat, that I should be the AEW booker because I believe I can do a far better job than Tony Khan has been doing. His cocaine dealer could probably do a far better job than he's been doing, but at least I have experience booking shows. His cocaine dealer has experience making money off of white Peruvian powder. But at the end of the day, watch what you enjoy. Don't judge other fans. Listen, Barhausen said that he went to Collision and he enjoyed it, but the place was empty. I'm not judging him for going. He wanted to go. He wanted to see the show. He enjoyed it. Rowdy went to the Denver show. I almost went with them. I want to be able to go to these things. I want to be able to enjoy them. I think that the booking needs to improve at AEW. But if you're a wrestling fan, as a wrestler, manager, booker, having been part of the wrestling business for as long as I was and am to an extent, I agree. Put Britt Baker on TV. That's what we're doing. I want you enjoying wrestling, but I don't want you telling other people how to enjoy wrestling. I'll give my opinion. I'll tell you how I feel about what Tony Khan's doing. But at the end of the day, if you like what AEW is putting on, go. Buy your tickets, see the show, watch it every week. This is the opposite of tribalism. If you come to my show and you try to get tribal in my comments about something, Baron will probably call you out on it, and so will I. Because we're not here to be tribalist. We have our complaints about AEW, but if you enjoy it, enjoy it. Wrestling is meant to be enjoyed. Wrestling is subjective, just like everything else. Baron, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza? Be honest.
I like it.
Great. So do I. There are people over there in the chat that are going to tell me that pineapple on pizza is the worst.
All right, tell me who it is, and we're going to ban them right now.
But no, my point here is that pineapple is also subjective. Food is subjective. What I like, you may not like. Baron and I like pineapple on our pizza. It goes on pizza for us. You don't want pineapple on your pizza? Nobody says you have to have it. In fact, if you and I are having pizza together, I'm probably going to do the Domino's deal where I get you your own medium 2-topping pizza, and you don't have to have ham and pineapple. You can have whatever 2 toppings you want. That's the same thing with wrestling. You don't like WWE. Great. Don't judge the fans that do. Judge the product. Judge the company. You don't like AEW. Great. Don't judge the fans that do. Judge the product. Judge the company. Definitely judge the cokehead. That's what this business is about. If you love one aspect of it, love that aspect of it. I am great with that. Right?
What this is a flashback from the early days of TNA. It was the same exact tribalism that really kind of got TNA going, right? And it was hot. It was good. And then we started getting certain people and they're booking things, right? Like, you know who I'm talking about, and the other person I'm talking about.
Bro.
And I mean, this was exactly what it reminds me of. We just have better talent currently than we did back then. But yes, I totally agree. It's very subjective. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Like me as a human, I have been watching wrestling so fucking long. I have seen just about every single type of style of wrestling match you could see. Right? I want to be entertained. I don't care if the match is a 5-star. Newer fans of wrestling can appreciate that a little bit more than I could currently.
Yeah.
Because I seriously have been watching it for so fucking long that I have seen the Owen Brad. I've seen what a real 5-star match truly is. And I just want to be entertained when I watch it. I mean, I still enjoy good matches, don't get me wrong. But not every match has to be a 5-star. Tell me something in the ring, right? And I think that's just where I'm at currently as a viewer. I appreciate when I turn over to AEW and see some flippity flops and shit like that, it's cool. But like what happens after that match, there's nothing. It's just a match, right? I want story. I need depth. And that's me as a viewer currently.
There was somebody a long time ago that called wrestling a male soap opera, and damn it, I want my stories.
Yeah,
isn't that the point of a soap opera?
That is, it is a male soap opera. It really fucking is, and yeah.
So and one more thing about the IWC, real quick. I'm sure that you guys all remember what happened several years ago. I don't remember which WrestleMania it was. I know it was a while back. But it was during the Yes Movement. It may have been the catalyst for the Yes Movement, now that I think about it. They pulled Daniel Bryan out of the main event at WrestleMania. They made this big deal about it on Monday Night Raw. How he wasn't going to get his main event spot like he had earned. And the fans lost it and went nuts. They were not happy, right? And as we followed the story leading up to WrestleMania, he went back into that match. They had him back in the match and he won. Doesn't matter whether it was because the IWC flipped out. It doesn't matter if that was the plan the whole time. The point of this is after Daniel Bryan won that match, again, the IWC took to their computers and complained about him winning the match. Listen, You people in the IWC, you clearly don't know what you want. So sit your ass down and watch whatever. Thank you, Sean. Mania 30. And sit down, enjoy whatever the hell WWE tells you want to see, because you don't know what you want to see. If you're mad that he's not in it and then you're mad because he won it, you don't know jack shit. All right. That being said, I think that we should talk about our final story of the night. And it is not just a TNA story. I'm sorry, Baron. I lied. We do have 2 AEW stories tonight. Our next story comes to us from Ringside News. It's the real reason TNA talent are jumping ship to AEW. Several TNA talent have made the move to All Elite Wrestling in recent months, and the reason behind them jumping ship is pretty straightforward. Despite TNA landing a television deal with AMC and maintaining a partnership with WWE, a number of wrestlers have still chosen to leave once their contracts expired. Names like the Rascals and the Inspiration are among the talents who have moved on to AEW. That trend led to plenty of questions among fans about why wrestlers would jump ship while TNA appears to be gaining momentum. During the March 11th, 2026 episode of Fightful's The Hump, wrestling reporter Sean Ross Sapp was asked directly why so many TNA talents have been choosing AEW instead. Sapp didn't dance around the answer. Now, before I read his answer, take his answer with a grain of salt. That's all I'm going to say. I can tell you why. Money, exposure, that's the long and short of it. People get paid a lot more money in AEW than they do in TNA. He explained that the structure of many TNA deals also plays a major role in the decision. Sapp also made the point that most wrestlers simply can't afford to ignore better paying opportunities when they appear. And the majority of the TNA deals are per appearance deals with no minimum guarantee. That's the main reason so many people made that jump. It's about money. Now, what I will say is that I never try to understand the motivations and inspirations of artists and rich people. The majority of these people are not rich. He then used the Rascals as an example of why financial stability matters for many performers. The Rascals were not rich. They had spent some time in WWE, but they still had to earn a living. So while partnerships and TV deals might look great on paper, the reality of the wrestling business often comes down to opportunity and paychecks. If AEW continues offering bigger money and wider exposure, the trend of TNA talent heading there may not slow down anytime soon. Do you think more TNA stars will continue jumping to AEW, or could the company's new TV deal and WWE partnership eventually keep talent from leaving? So the first thing I would like to point out on this is that look, I don't know what, it's a warning. I'm issuing a warning to TNA wrestlers wanting to jump to AEW. Now may not be the best time. As we have highlighted on this show over the recent weeks, the new deals being what they are for HBO Max and the TV studio stuff, we don't know what AEW's future is currently. Because of the fact that the TV side of it got picked up by Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus has a deal with UFC. I know Tony Khan said he would love to work alongside the UFC, but Tony, do you know who the UFC's parent company is? It's that same company that's the parent company of, you know what? Technically, I can't call them competition because WWE blows them out of the water numbers-wise week in, week out. But TKO owns your rival, the WWE. I don't know that Paramount is going to keep you around for long. I don't mind you going. I'd love to keep the wrestlers and keep them doing shows, but I would not jump ship to AEW right now. Britt Baker is still benched. How many other people are benched? How long did they put off Will Ospreay's time off for his injury? Right now, they're underutilizing some talent that deserves TV time. They were overutilizing one talent who doesn't deserve jack shit in this business. I'm not going to mention her name. But this may not be the best time, especially with the future of AEW TV being so uncertain. Yeah, Tony's going to offer you a lot of money, but you know where he gets that money? Daddy gives him all the money he wants. Baron?
But he owns stuff too, though. Right? Like, they have money. And what did WCW have when they got going, right? They have money. Exactly. They have money at the end of the day. And by all means, jump ship. Take that fucking bag and go home, right? I wouldn't say go home, but take the bag. If they're willing to pay that much, then do it. That's all I have to say. Like, WWE is not getting any better with the saturation of their menu of their roster, right? I think we're getting to a point.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah, menu roster. I was thinking work related when I say menu. So I was like, it's getting just as bad over there. Yeah, I mean, like, I think we could, like TNA, more people need to be more focused on going to TNA. I think that's where you're really going to get things going. But it's vice versa. AEW people going to WWE, WWE going to AEW. We're all just shifting out people at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing though is with TV, AEW's TV future uncertain. I'm not saying don't go to AEW. I'm just saying now may not be the time to do it. Wait a little bit longer.
You're ran by a billionaire. You're going to be fine. I don't think there's much to worry about at that point.
Now, I did find out that they did something that we talked about, but they didn't do it the way I suggested. I honestly think that they should have utilized the Ring of Honor app like we talked about here on the show. But they did. I've been informed that they did. 3 days ago, they announced the launch of a new streaming platform for AEW, and it's called My AEW.
Okay.
And we're not going to read this whole story, but I pulled it up, and I want to say Danhausen told me it was going to be $7.99 a month. I don't see that in this article, but it sounds like it's going to be $7.99 a month for the My AEW app. So that's not what I would have done. I told you guys last week that what I would have done is I would have taken that Ring of Honor app that you're underutilizing, that you're not promoting, and you're not doing much with. Yeah, you're putting the stuff on there, but if nobody knows it's there, how good is it really, right? I would have taken that app and I would have updated it and I would have made it have the AEW stuff on it, and then you could have gone a little higher on the price. You're going $7.99 with your app, but you should have probably upgraded our Ring of Honor app, added AEW to it, and gone $12 to $15.99 for that. You could have made some money off of that, and you would have gotten the ROH brand out there. Right now, it's only Ring of Honor fans that are watching Ring of Honor. And how do you cultivate new fans? Get it out there for people to see. But nobody wants to see it because they don't know what you're doing with it. That's my opinion. Sorry.
I agree wholeheartedly.
But at the end of the day, jump ship. Do what you want. Enjoy wrestling how you enjoy wrestling. Don't think that we're over here going, hey, so we watched Raw, we watched SmackDown, we watched NXT, we didn't watch AEW. Don't think we're saying that you shouldn't watch AEW. I want you to watch whatever you want. As long as you're enjoying wrestling, that's what I want. That's what Sean wants. That's what Baron wants. That's what Dizzy wants. That's what Styles wants. We want you to enjoy wrestling because at the end of the day, I don't care which company you're supporting. Of the many, you got New Japan, you've got TNA, Ring of Honor, you got a whole bunch of them. As long as you're supporting a wrestling company and enjoying the work, your enjoyment is what matters to me.
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah.
Max out here spitting tonight, folks.
I do this show because people enjoy wrestling, and I like being a voice for wrestling. I like being able to come here and talk about it. Do I criticize things more often on the AEW side? But do I criticize things I have a problem with? Yeah. But that's part of what doing this kind of show is we're going to criticize stuff. We're going to voice our opinions, and we're going to tell you where we stand on stuff. And at the end of the day, all I care about is, even if you're not enjoying my show, enjoy something wrestling related, because at least then I'll know I've done my job. You know what I mean? And if you do like our show, there's a little like button right down there below by the description. Click that. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to us, and maybe hit that little bell icon so that YouTube will let you know when we go live. Tell your friends. And if you don't like our show is actually called... No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. So that's going to do it for Ramblers Unleashed tonight. Baron, how can they find you?
Hey, babe. You can find me on the Twitter, because we're still calling it Twitter. We're still calling it. Scumbag Jordan with 3 N's.
You can find me at Max Magius. You can find the Ramblers podcast at the Ramblers Pod. Find us on Facebook. If you aren't already in there, the Discord is down there in the description. Come on over, join us. I share memes. I tell stories. People laugh. People cry.
If you're playing games, real quick, I'm gonna start getting in some of those voice chats, and we can game. I've been gaming quite frequently here, but yeah.
Come on over and join us on the Discord. We have a good time over there. And thank you, Sean, for saying that, because I feel like some days I just feel like I'm not enjoyed on this show. I know you guys do, and sometimes I just need to hear it to reassure myself. So, all right, anything else you want to throw out there, Baron, before I call it a night?
I enjoy you thoroughly.
Thanks, Baron. I appreciate that.
My opinion's the only one that matters. No. We're good.
All right. Then you guys have a good night. Get out there and watch some wrestling.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Ramblers Unleashed. Follow the show on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click the bell icon for notifications of upcoming